The market is now down 299. It has been rallying. Do you see these Kaplan comments?
Yes.
What does he do? He says that he favors taking no Fed rate action for the first couple of quarters.
Yep.
And it's just funny the way, I've said it before, and years ago it was an asteroid headed, the market was down. An asteroid was going to destroy the Earth in the morning, but rallied in the afternoon after it looked like the Fed was going to cut rate. I mean, it's always the Fed, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, even with Apple and China and everything else, one guy, Kaplan, says it, and I think that helps. Anyway, Byron, last year we talked off camera. I think you had a pretty good year.
Yeah.
For your predictions.
It was it looked really good on September 20th.
It did. You said we'll see a 10% correction. Now, you did expect the market to come back, but if you're a month off or 2 months off on that, it's not bad. You thought oil would stay strong for longer than it did.
It was strong, and then it collapsed.
And as I kind of needled you off camera, your wishful thinking was that the Democrats took the House and the Senate. It was your prediction, but it happened with the House, but not with the Senate. This time around. But for next year, you've got a lot of compelling I don't want to go back to 2018. I think you did pretty well. It's hard. It's not easy to do this.
Joe, if you think I did pretty well, I've got a big smile on my face.
Well, and I got you a corn muffin. Did I?
Yeah, you got me my corn muffin.
Next year, I think the one that I saw. This year. Yeah, there I am. There I go again. Next year. This year, so Trump stays put till they aren't able to. They try to impeach him, but it doesn't. There's not enough in the Mueller probe to work on, or something. Or what's your take on that?
There's not enough in the Mueller probe to get Trump.
There's not enough.
There's enough to get people around him, close to him, but not Trump.
And that you're not unhappy with that because you like the tax reform, you like the deregulation, and you like the North Korea.
Right.
You're not unhappy, and you think he could get reelected too.
I do.
You think he will be. That's your 2020 predictions.
Right. Although that's my 2020 prediction, but we're not there yet. I'm looking forward to next year, sitting in this chair, talking about that.
Do you ever? Was one of your 10 things that where Apple's going to be at the end of the year?
No, I stayed away from Apple this year. I stayed away from Tesla. I stayed away from oil.
Those are all wild cards.
Yeah.
It's almost
but one of the ones I'm surprised you didn't comment on, Joe,
I'm going to.
is I said the Fed wouldn't raise rates at all this year.
And you think that that qualifies at the moment as a potential surprise? I mean, it's what the market kind of seems to wish for, but
yeah, but it's a surprise.
Yeah,
everybody thinks it's going to be 2 or 3.
How about the S&P? When it's all said and done?
Well, if the S&P is up 15%, it doesn't even carry it to the old high.
Right.
And you think it gets to the old highs and beyond?
Yeah, I do.
This year?
Yeah.
No recession on the horizon at this point?
2021.
2021. You give me see, you don't get this very many places. Gold drops to 1,000. These are all kind of compelling. Finally, maybe emerging markets do better. Why? It just seems like there's. We're talking about the markets, but what about the global growth?
Economy, right?
Yeah, what about global?
Well, global growth continues. I mean, the U.S. is going to grow at 2.5. Europe is going to grow between 1 and 2. Japan will grow between 1 and 2, and China will grow at better than 6.
And tying it all together, if in that environment the Fed doesn't move, it refreshes the risk
dollar
appetite.
is stable, whereas strong dollar is bad for the emerging markets. So I think the emerging markets are way behind, and everybody hates them. And on this program, you focus on what everybody hates, because very often that wakes up sometime during the year.
Best about your surprises, and for those who haven't followed them over the years, I mean, you're talking about things that go completely against conventional wisdom on this. You're looking for outliers, which is why it's so impressive when you can get 50% from last year. These are counter to what the market is thinking, and
look, it's a surprise. The biggest thing I've got going for me is the sentiment. The second biggest thing is the valuation. They are cheap. They haven't shut down. Those companies are still operating and earning money. I can't go into a conference room with portfolio managers and have them not take the negative position.
So was it easier to put this list together this year just because sentiment has taken such a swing?
I think the fundamentals are sound, and if the dollar stays stable, doesn't strengthen further, which is what I believe, then I think they've got a shot.
Some of yours, they didn't make the top 10, but I think this is really relevant. China finally announces we want to be the world leaders in free trade. It sends envoys around the globe to negotiate better trade terms in order to offset the losses from the U.S. So it doesn't ever cry uncle to us. It goes elsewhere with bilateral trade.
Well, they're going to do bilateral agreements. They're already doing it pretty much around the world. That's part of the Belt and Road plan. But they'll do a deal with us. China needs a deal with us, and we need a deal with them. So it is going to happen, and that's going to be one of the reasons the tone of the market will change.
It's hard to read. It's hard to read the leader of either the U.S. or North Korea in terms of what finally comes out of this, and it seems, I don't know, it still seems volatile. You know, we read Kim Jong-un's most recent statement. There was some stuff in there that sounded very conciliatory, and then there's always that crazy stuff where you wonder, whether he could fire a missile tomorrow over Japan or something. But no missiles in 2018. You think that something was accomplished?
Look, a year ago we were all talking about going to war with North Korea.
Is it going to be lasting?
Mm-hmm. It's already lasted. Whether we really do a denuclearization deal with them is conjectural, but we're not going to war with them. And that's the important thing that Trump accomplished in June.